Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the Mikestand. Today is Sunday, September the day is Sunday, September the 21st, 2025. So, welcome to another week of traveling back in time. Of course, before we do get started, tonight we'll be going over comics went on sale in June of 1940. Hey, Rick's here. Um, we'll be going.
Howdy.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, is it?
Okay. Um, so we'll be heading back to June of 1940. We'll be looking at books that went on sale from Prize Publications, namely Prize Comics number 6. Featuring some Power Nelson, Jupiter the Master Magician, Black Owl, and Storm Curtis. But before we do get into all that, let me pass it off to my co-host for the evening, the Metal. Metal, I'm sure you know the shtick. If give you a chance here to promo, go for it.
Hey, I'm the metal. How you doing? I just noticed that I came in here so early that the subtitle option wasn't there, so I still have the same subtitle as the last time I was on here. Anyway, I am the creator of X Dynamis Chaos. That you can find everything that I create under that brand at xdynamischaos.com. It's a bunch of comics, web novels, archives, fun stuff that you can spend hours engaging in. We're currently working on a premium comic called The Dreamscape Dilemma, which I will continue to update people on once that's actually done. But we're about a third through production, so that's fun. And also, I live stream over at the Vomitorium Live here on YouTube and other places, but YouTube's really the only one that matters. And you can find my talk show where I talk about a lot of the similar stuff that Mike talks about twice a week, as well as I've been live streaming gaming and stuff over there more often, including like 5 hours yesterday. So, make sure you're subscribed to that.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
All right. Yeah, I think I noticed that too. That you've been live streaming your gaming recently.
I almost did it today too for like a shorter stream. I was going to get off at like 4, so I'd have time to get on here, but then I just didn't end up doing it.
All right. So, with that being said, so as I said tonight, we're going to be going over Prize Comics number 6. Friendly reminder to everybody, of course, if you haven't already, to both my Rumble and my YouTube viewers, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here that we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will answer, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. With that all said, let me pull up the material here. Let me just check and see comments on some of the other things. All right, no, nothing there. And of course, just what we had already planned out there. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and start getting started on all this. All right, Prize Comics, Prize Power Nelson, Future Man, number 6, August 10 cents. All right. Now, I've often commented on this particular feature. This is kind of one that's kind of memorable for me because I actually get kind of the Jetsons feel from it,
Mm.
And
I don't think I've experienced him before. Break him down for me real quick. Future Man, is he from the future or in the future?
Well, okay, from the 1940 perspective, when this from when this comic was written,
Yeah,
it's taking place in the future.
Well, but if it's taking place in the future, then wouldn't he just be present man?
Well, yeah. Well, okay. Well, this okay. So the story, even though it was written in 1940, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's set in the year 1982.
Yeah, yeah. So it's the future
Mongolia has
from the reader's perspective, but to future man, he's just present man.
yeah. Well, I think it's kind of the sub. Again, I don't know why they gave the sub. Maybe because giving the perspective of the reader right there, from the reader's perspective, he'd be considered future man. Power Nelson. Um, I
Yeah, I think
kind
I'm
of
just
get
gonna call him
I kind of
Nelson.
get where you're going with it, calling him future man. When at least in his canon, it's actually would be present man. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It'd
but
be like
I don't, quite honestly though, I don't even think within the context of the story, within the canon, he's actually called Future Man. I think it's just part
oh,
of
it's
the
just a
title.
subtitle. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it'd be like calling Jetsons the family of the future. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. As long as it's only ever called it in the title for the audience, that's fine.
yeah,
Because for the Jetsons, they're in the present.
yeah. In their canon, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but
It's like calling the Flintstones like the Stone Age family. It's like, yes, yes, that is the present for them.
yeah, interesting discussion there. But anyways, so let me explain what like how I kind of see the Jetsons on this point. So from the perspective of the reader and the writers of the time, 1940 looking into the future, right? You know, from their perspective in the 40s, what they thought 1982 was and what 1982 ended up being were well kind of far apart from me because from their perspective, they were thinking we'd already have like flying cars, much like in the Jetsons, which was made in the 60s, and what they
Mhm.
thought like 2000s would be like, or where we'd
Oh
be
yeah,
at.
yeah, because they're only like what, a little under 40 years from right now in the future,
Hmm.
like 62.
Yeah. Well, from the 40s to the 60s, yeah, between the jet. My point being, though, at least for the fascinating part of this particular feature, is what people thought the future was going to be like. Only like in from this
Yeah,
case,
yeah,
42 years into the future. When you watch
yeah.
the Jetsons, the marvel of that series is people, what people of the 60s thought the future was going to be like, just maybe about 40 to 60 years ahead of them.
Well, no, because the Jetsons is 100 years from the first episode. It takes place in 2062. So at least they gave
I don't
themselves a lot
remember it
of
I
yeah.
don't ever remember it. I ever identifying that,
This is
but
what the production staff has said about the show. So at
uh,
least they gave themselves like 100 years of leeway with that show. Like,
mhm.
yeah, I could see this happening 100 years. Look what happened in the last 100 years.
Hmm, yeah, possible. I mean,
I don't think
yeah,
we're getting there though. That only gives us 40 years to get there.
right.
Yeah,
Here,
even Rick said too. At least the Jetsons went 100 years in the future.
all right. So now down the left side of the panel, you have Zora, who I believe is the nurse there. Name of the nurse there. Sklar. Look at Sklar right there. That's a very interesting creature. Hey there,
Yeah, very Sklar-like.
Emperor Sengi.
Very, very Chinese.
Well, I think I might have told you this before.
Hmm.
At least according to the writers of this particular story, they believe Mongolia would actually take over the world by 1982.
Mm. Well, yeah, that's a little far fetched, even for the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like Mongolia was already being stomped on by China, so thinking that China would take over the world would have even been a better idea at the time that this was written.
Yeah, but I remember back when we first like from the first stories we're reading from this
Mhm.
Mongolian Empire that actually rose. So
Yeah,
that was
maybe they were like the writer was like one of those Tartary conspiracy theorists because that's been going back even 100 years from now,
pottery
where
conspiracy.
Yeah, yeah. So do you know the Empire of Tartar, right? Or also
No.
known as like Tartary. So Tartar was actually an old civilization that it was kind of like just when the Mongols were roaming the northern Asian steppe, and they were a nomadic conquerors, kind of like how Genghis Khan was nomadic, right? And they kind of just kept everybody underfoot while roaming around on horseback. It wasn't an advanced civilization by any means, but it was one that existed. But there's a bunch of conspiracy theorists that thought like Tartary used to be this ancient advanced civilization just because of rumors that got passed around from like near Easterns in the Middle East and Europeans about this place they didn't know much about. And it was like, oh, the Tartary Empire is going to rise again, which would have been Mongolian people. Like maybe he was one of those Tartary conspiracy theorists, and he thought like, yeah, the Mongol Empire is going to rise back up.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting thing to say the least. Anyways, let's get into the story then. Yeah. Through the black void, a meteor-like object speeds to the Earth. With a mighty crash, it half buries itself into the ground. All right, so it is the year 1982, and over a trembling people, Sang Yi, dictator of the world, rules with a tyrant's hand. Only one dares to oppose him, one who has been given outstanding strength by a scientific experiment. A man called Power Nelson.
So I'm noticing something here about the lettering, right back in that last panel. And I didn't notice it when you were saying the character's name before. Are we certain that it's Sang Yi, or because he is an emperor, he's referring to himself as Sang the First?
Hmm.
Because there's a space between Sang and the I, and it's in bold compared to the other letters around it.
Well, I actually you may have a point there. Saying the first, you may have a point there. Um, Albeit, I don't know if you know Asia would have been using Roman numerals for stuff like that, but
Yeah, but it's written in English, so you kind of just go with
yeah.
the custom of the language you're writing in.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So I
Okay,
don't know. It
saying the
could be
first,
either.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, E could be his last name too, but you probably have a very valid point there. Saying the first.
Yeah,
So.
because there is a space there, so it's clearly two different words.
Mhm. All right. So anything more you want to add to that
No, no,
before?
no.
All right. Around the smoking cylinder gather curious people. What is it? Look, the top is lifting. Out of the huge rocket ship steps gigantic robots. Look at what robots were looking like back in 1940 there, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. They kind of resemble like Grecian automatons,
Hmm.
which I'm sure for a long time too, before we started making more complex machines, people probably just thought that robots were going to look like what people thought robots were going to look like for all of human history.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I see the same thought process that was used in um, some of the robots that you'd see in like some of the Superman Fleischer cartoons
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah.
Remember those?
Basically just golems, but they're made of machine instead of rocks or whatever.
Hmm. Yeah. Flames suddenly leap at the people. Flame! Help! Where once had been humans, now remain ashes. Wow, look at that! Whoa! So granted, they did it a little bit more from a distance or off screen there, that's a pretty gruesome. But that's still kind of a gruesome.
Oh,
Uh,
this is a serious story for sure. People
yeah,
will die.
yeah, yeah, and this is probably one of those, as I sometimes call it sarcastically. This was something written for kids.
Oh, kids love death though.
Yeah,
Like it's one of their favorite things. They love violence. You just got to treat it in a serious way so they don't become needlessly violent themselves. But like It's setting the stakes. It's like, listen, we are not afraid to turn people to ashes right here at the beginning. Somebody's got to come to stop these things.
Yeah. I mean, you almost have to wonder what Frederick Wortham was probably thinking of this if he was
Yeah.
even like going all the way back to this point in time. As the robots advance on the city, armies are sent to meet them. But the monsters continue their advance, destroying everything before them. So they basically are out of, I guess it would be like their mouthpiece or whatever, shooting out, I guess, flames or some kind of acid, fiery acid or something like that.
Oh yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. Because you need some type of for like any type of flamethrower, or even like if you were to have some type of acid thing, you need some type of like nozzle
Mm-hmm.
for it, right? Which their mouthpiece looks like it could have one behind it. And then for the flamethrower specifically, you need a flame in front of the nozzle, usually on a separate piece, which could easily be housed there.
Hmm. Yeah. Bent upon destruction, the robots head for New York. The robots are coming! Run for your lives! Abruptly, out over the panic stricken crowd, hurdles a heroic figure, Power Nelson. Look at that. Look at that scene right there. Him hurdling over the people.
Yeah.
You should be careful, though, because that right foot of his looks like he's about to get somebody in the head there.
Oh, yeah, it looks pretty sharp too. Like, look, it's almost like there's spikes on the top of his like cleats or whatever these slippers are.
Hmm.
Like, it might just, you know, put a hole right in that woman's head.
Yeah, no kidding. Like a battering ram, he strikes, toppling a robot.
This guy, whoever like drew this, right, the artist behind it, must be a
Uh-huh.
big fan of adding spikes to things. Because look at that girdle, that belt of his, that Herculean girdle has like just spikes shooting out in every direction.
Hmm. Well, maybe. Steel fists quickly demolish delicate machinery. I'll make you scrap iron. I'll make scrap iron of you. Toward the others streaks the future man. And again, that's in narration, so I think again within the story, I don't think they're calling him Future Man. They're calling him Power Nelson. But I
Yeah,
think
this is almost like you have to imagine if this was a radio play and you have like this radio announcer is telling you the story about this superhero in the future to the present audience.
right,
That's what it kind of comes off as.
yeah. Now, you rusty pile of junk, as a heat ray stabs at him, he twists aside. Herculean arms lift a gigantic robot. Look
I
at
do not
that.
like the design of his like chest piece. This is like his collar area. Now that I get a look of it, they didn't show this off before. It was too zoomed out. But look at those spikes that are just coming up around his collar. Like it's far enough away from his head that it's not a problem in normal position. But what if like he was wrestling with somebody and they cranked their neck and suddenly his ear is around one of those spikes?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Um,
Well, we know about some of the little logical leaps that some of these creators back then were making. So,
Yeah, and he's got like such a nice silhouette and design otherwise. I don't even think necessarily the spikes on the belt's the worst thing. But like,
mhm.
it would have been easier to draw and it would have been just as cool if you removed the spikes around the neck. They don't need to be there at all. Make them circles, make them like have like little orbs around the neck instead if you still want like this decorative color piece.
Yeah. A mighty heave, a crash. The robots go down. Crashing, smashing power puts the robots out of commission. It looks as if the tin can can the tin can industry will have plenty of raw material.
Are you implying they're made of tin?
I guess
Is
that's
it
what it might be. I don't know if he's implying it or just being sarcastic, but
Listen, if they're made of tin, you didn't need Future Man to come around. Even like a 1940s car. Actually, maybe cars are worse in the future. They didn't know how bad cars would get, but maybe they guessed they would be. But a 1940 car that's like solid steel could have just ran right through those things.
hmm. In his palace, Shang frantically confers with his scientists. Some planet is probably getting ready to invade the Earth. The trouble is, we don't have, we don't know which one. At home, Power receives a televised signal. Where could they? Where could they? Where could they? The televisor, someone. Where could they? The televisor, someone calling. Appears the nurse of the universe, Zora Doom. It's Zora.
The nurse of the universe. I mean, it's catchy. It's got like this rhyme sequence to it, but it's like, what does this mean?
Well, in their previous adventure, they crossed paths because she was, she I guess roams around the universe helping people medically.
Oh, okay. She's just it's like a traveling doctor, but
Right.
in space.
But a
Okay.
traveling
There
nurse
was
more.
another thing I wanted to, yeah, kind of like point out of how this definitely could have used some editing. You were tripping over his dialogue from the previous panel,
Hmm.
and rightfully so, at least in the end, because it should say someone is calling, but also someone is one word, not two.
Ah. Yeah, that some of that stuff did actually throw me off a bit there, but you know me, I'll work my way through it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Planet Arcus is to invade Earth. Giant robots coming. Ha! Look at that! Look at, see
Oh
the
yeah, you
screen
got like
there?
a yeah, and you got like an elvish mole man behind her or something. I don't know.
Zora, look out! Power Nelson proposes a daring plan. And you say the invading planet is Argus? Yeah, yes. Give me a spaceship, and I'll try to stop any plans to attack Earth. Off the Earth zooms a spaceship carrying Power Nelson into the unknown world. Power races into black space until, at last, Argus, the invader planet. As Power steps out of his rocket ship, a space gun about to shoot another container of robots to the Earth. The
That's
Val.
a
Oh,
very, very interesting plan. But I guess if they're not alive, you can kind of just fire things out of a gun to leave your atmosphere. Maybe.
hmm. The Val Scrambler is adjusted. Val Scrambler. That sounds interesting. Hmm. This ought to interpret any speech I may hear spoken by these strange people. So this, I guess, supposed to be some kind of translator, and yet they're calling it a
Yeah,
vowel.
yeah. But what happens if what if their language doesn't have any vowels in it?
Hmm.
What if
Yeah,
it's
that
all
would be
like
interesting.
consonants and guttural sounds?
Oh, you mean kind of like Mr. Mixia Spitlick?
Sort of, right? But there's like some implied vowels with his name. I'm talking how like even though the most common languages in the planet right now that are mostly spoken all have vowels, if you actually go to where there's the most diversity of language, which is mostly Africa,
Mm-hmm.
There are more languages that contain clicks and pops, but no like traditional vowels or even R vowels, like where you have the sound of R or that than the other way around. There's like the right, and they'll have consonants and stuff in there, but they'll also have other sounds and like guttural and stuff that are almost like vowels, but not quite. So, like, what if they have a language like that? How's the vowel scrambler going to help you against a language like that?
I don't know. Again, though, as we've talked about on several games, it's like it's kind of hard to know what these people were thinking back then. Because sometimes their logic didn't seem to make much sense, right? And I know you've talked about that
Mm-hmm.
numerous times, right? You
It just
pointed
seems
that
very
out.
short sighted.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's see. Oh yeah. Okay, we are. Yeah. This ought to interpret any speech I may hear spoken by these strange people. It points directly at Earth. Make ready to fire. What? Greetings! Ray guns flash at the future man. Our guns do not take effect. He won't die. Quickly, Power works the controls and he set he set off the gun to fall. But Power has not sent the cylinder to Earth, but aimed it at the blazing sun. Wow! Look at that. Yeah. So you want to make sure these bad guys don't hurt the Earth? Let's aim it at the sun and blast them into the sun.
That's probably not going to happen, though.
Huh?
Probably not going to happen, though. Do you actually know how hard it is to shoot something into the sun?
Actually, I don't.
It's extremely hard. And it's because of all the different gravitational pulls on the way to the sun, as well as the sun's particular pull. You're far more likely to be slingshotted into orbit around the sun, even if you aim directly at it. You also have to understand, too, that the planet you're firing it from is moving. So that's going to give it a trajectory as well. You have to do all of this complex math, but you're still probably going to miss. And there's a good chance that after, like, I don't know, a decade or so, depending on what its orbit ends up, it might just end up coming back around to wherever you are and passing by.
Yeah. Interesting. I need to go off camera here for a moment. If you want to talk to the chat for a moment, as soon as I can find the cursor, so I can go off camera here. I'll be right back. You want to chit chat with the chat?
I don't know if I want to, but I guess I will. Hey, Rick, how you doing? Assuming you're still in the chat. Just want to emphasize, it is really, really hard to actually fire something into the sun. You do not understand how much math goes into it, and you're probably going to miss. And you'd think it shouldn't be because it's like the largest source of gravity locally because of its the largest mass. You would think it would pull things right into it. It's like, no, that's not how it works. It's not how it works at all. You're probably just going to whip around it. The slingshot. Like, you'd probably be better off, I don't know, launching it deeper into space in the opposite direction. Because, like, space is so empty. Will it eventually hit something? Sure, because, like, gravitational forces are going to act on it. So over a long enough period of time, it'll eventually drift towards something. But, that could be eons. Like, it could just be drifting in the emptiness of space forever. There's such big gaps between everything that, like, the odds of it hitting anything anytime soon are less than slim to none. It even depends where Argus is, I guess. Some planet named after a Grecian giant with 100 eyes. But There could be a nearby asteroid belt, still not going to hit anything, even if you pass it through.
Hmm.
Things in space are just really, really far apart. Like at the time that they wrote this, they probably didn't understand how far apart things are in space as well. Like the
Mm-hmm.
idea of firing into the sun, it's like, okay, but is it your local sun? Because I don't think Argus is around our sun, right? This other strange planet. I don't think it's in our solar system. Because what is this? You said 1940s, right? So it's like at the time we thought there was more planets than there currently are, but not by that much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Argus was ever the name for Planet X. Maybe it was. Maybe they're thinking this is the fabled 10th, now would be ninth planet that we thought of for a long time. So it could have been our sun. But even then, it's like if it was where we thought it was going to be, that would take, I don't know. They fired at Earth, it got there in a reasonable time, so we at least have to like double the distance between that. But I mean, it could take forever for anything to even get that far.
Yeah. Going back to your point a few minutes ago, because I was listening as I was taking care of what I was trying to take care of there. You're talking about how impossible it would be to shoot something at the sun because of some of the other gravitational effect. Because what it probably reminded me of the possibility, maybe the total gravitational effect of the other bodies would at least match, if not possibly supersede, the sun's gravitational. Again, I would guess so. That depend upon just how strong the sun's gravitational.
Well, the sun is like 96% of the mass, I think. Maybe it's a little less than that, but it's like 90 something percent of the mass of our solar system. And then the next biggest chunk making up what you could reasonably see on a pie chart is Jupiter. And Jupiter and some of Saturn is most of the rest of the mass of the universe. And it would have to pass Jupiter to get to the sun. Now, Jupiter could be on the other side of the sun when this was fired. That's totally possible, and that wouldn't affect it. But this would have to be past Jupiter at the very least.
All right, so ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you for filling in for me. I had to just take care of something real quick there. Let's continue on with the story then. Ready. Then a commanding voice. What? Halt! Else I kill the girl. Stop, Earthling. One move, and I fire. Zora! Power is helpless. Why are you here? Speak up, for I am Sklar, Lord of Argus. We of Earth ask you to cease your invasion of our land. For my robots will destroy the Earth and all other planets. But Sklar's vigilance relaxes as he rants and I'm determined. So am I. Come on, Zora. We've got a date. That's one heck of a way to go on a date. Right?
Yeah, you've been there, done that.
To elude the pursuers, Power darts into a nearby cavern. Not even Sklar can make me follow them in the cave of terror. Oh, mighty Sklar, the Earthlings have escaped into the cave of terror. They would find me preferable to the evils they will meet there. Soon they meet the dreaded cave monster. Look, a dragon. That's kind of an interesting dragon design there, huh?
I guess, yeah, it's very, it's a dinosaur, but dinosaurs were called dragons before we started calling them dinosaurs, so it fits.
Yeah. That does kind of remind me of like Yu-Gi-Oh a little bit. How some of Rex Raptor's dinos were kind of like he did have I think he did have the red eyes black dragon before Joey took that from him,
Yeah.
and the serpent night dragon as well. Um, but the future man overpowers the beast. Meanwhile, creatures of the quicksand attack Zora. Power, help, coming! um, Power quickly rescues Zora from their clutches. A saber-toothed crawler um, leaps toward him. Come on, you overgrown mouse! But the mighty fist quickly stuns the beast. After many hours of terrifying experiences, look, daylight. We've reached the end of the cave. As they rest, Zora enlightens Power. How about Sklar? Through his scientific genius, he controls the planet. All his people hate him, but they're helpless. I think I'm going to start a little revolution. They reach Sklar's great arsenal. Round up the people. This is dangerous. Power is discovered approaching the arsenal. The Earthman must be destroyed. Prepare the proton cannon. A deadly proton bomb is fired at the lone attacker. Uh-oh, the boys are getting playful. Wow. Talk about minimizing a situation, huh?
I don't know why you would even fire a proton bomb on your own land. That seems really stupid. Like, look how close you are. Unless they don't understand how deadly a proton bomb is.
The people within the story or the
Uh, yes,
writer?
both. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
But the future man catches the bomb. As long as you want to play catch, and hurls it back. Here, it's your turn. Boom! Into the arsenal dashes the one-man army. There's no stopping him. Run! Like an avenging cyclone, he sweeps through the arsenal, wrecking, smashing. Power appeals to Sklar's men. Halt! I do not come to fight you, but to free you. Huh? What? Power makes a stirring speech. Sklar oppressed you too long. Let us fight for freedom. Are you with me? Yes, down with Sklar! Freedom! Arms are distributed to the people Zora has gathered. For freedom! Down with Sklar, the tyrant!
So I like how because you're the one deciding to give the voices here, but it's giving me an image in my head that all of these words are coming through his translator, as said earlier. So like the image that I'm getting in my head is that the translator was designed to be like really racist and making all of the aliens sound like nerds.
Well, yeah, well, yeah, I guess that could be. But that's just the way
I would design an alien translator that way, to be honest.
Yeah. So you think that what I did just by natural course, is something you actually do with intent?
Yeah. You know, because they are a bunch of nerds. Yeah. Humans number one. Glory to Earth. Let's go.
All the soldiers desert. Arsenals are captured. Stop! We fight with you! Now for Sklar, where is he? Atop Fire Mountain. It is impossible to climb its blazing sides. Fire Mountain, a blazing inferno. I think we have a different. What do you think? Don't we have a different word for that?
Well, I don't know. It could be a volcano, but I don't know if the fire is coming from like a caldera, like or if like the mountain is just naturally on fire, kind of like in Dragon Ball where they have to put the fire mountain out to help the Ox King later. It's like it could just be like one of those circumstances. Well, we'll see. We'll see if there's like a crater, like a caldera at the top. It could be a volcano.
There's more than one way to skin a cat or a rat. Power leaks through tongues of flame.
Yeah, they're licking him.
Have you ever seen a tongue of flame metal?
Yeah, I actually don't think that's a bad description. If you ever looked at like a candle flicker, right, and you look at the flame, it almost looks like a tongue waving there. You know?
I guess that makes sense. But then again, I guess if you go to, let's say, your local Taco Bell or Del Taco or what have you, you might see.
Well, if you go to Del Taco and you put their Inferno sauce on, your tongue is not the only thing that's going to be flaming. It just might take a few hours later.
Okay. Up through whirling blast of raging smoke. Some nice descriptions going on here. And a light on the top made it. An immense steel door is wrenched off its hinges. Wow, he is quite powerful, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Nigh indestructible, at least to the things that we've seen so far. Leaps great distances, can tear doors right off of their hinges. Pretty strong guy.
Yeah. How did you get here? You figure it out. A button is pressed, and from the ceiling, a liquid sprays over Power's body. Swiftly, the strange liquid hardens. Now it's your turn to be surprised. Power is entombed in crystal.
Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like he's in ice, but ice is technically a crystal, so that wouldn't be wrong either.
Wow! Now you shall be encased in crystal forever. The televisor. Master, flee your army deserted. Ships fly to bomb your castle. What? I'll be killed. My rocket plane. I must escape. Were you just chuckling there?
No.
I thought I heard you chuckle there or something like that.
No.
In his ship, Sklar prepares to flee, but Power flexes his great muscles and... Not so fast, friend. With his hands, Power rips away the rocket motors. Motorless, the ship plunges down toward the hungry flames of Fire Mountain. Sklar has met a fitting end. Now the people are truly free. Once more, Argus is ready for a productive life. From now on, we live in peace. We are free! Power prepares to take leave of Zora and Argos. Well, Zora, where will you go now? There are other planets. What about you? Though I freed these people, Earth is still ruled by a despot. Sing the first. Okay, so there you go.
They do have an ST, yeah, confirmation.
Yeah. That is where my destiny lies. Power, I may never see you again. Nonsense. We'll meet again, somewhere, somehow. In outer space, a craft carries Power Nelson, determined to free and enslave people. Follow the War on Oppression by Power Nelson, the Future Man. In each issue of Prize Comics, let us know how you like these stories. Prize Comics, Radio City, 1270 6th Avenue, New York, New York. All right, so before we head on to the next story, of course, Metal, your overall impressions?
I thought it was solid. You know, so it's very odd, I guess, but this was common for the time where it's kind of just like a sci-fi hero comic, but as like the idea of the superhero is growing, you put that type of character in the traditional sci-fi hero comic because he's got the aspects of a superhero. So it's kind of just like a blend of just everything that was going on at the time. I was even not allowed, but laughing a bit at them using the word televisor over and over again. It's like, well, yeah, for the time that was a very appropriate term, since like the first television set ever made is only 11 years old at that point, and commercial TV sets in people's houses only started going around maybe 2 to 3 years before this was made.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, if it's a television set, of course, televisor is an appropriate name for what's going on. And they would think like this new technology, everyone's going to be using in the future. It's going to be how they communicate, which isn't completely wrong. They were just a couple decades ahead because now we have like television sets in our pockets that we can video chat with people anytime we want.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one little factor I do know when you're talking about the history of television there and how, yeah, on the East Coast you would start getting you'd start getting commercial television sets on East Coast, as you said, 2 to 3 years later in the 42, 43 right there. What I do know from what I've read before, KTLA, which is a television station based here in Southern California out of Los Angeles, right? That was actually the first commercial television station west of the Mississippi. And that started up that came into being in January of 1947.
Yeah. Well, technically they were on sale as early as 38, but television sets were actually commercially on sale in Europe before here. It would have been around like 39, 40 when they start spreading out across the US.
Yeah. All right. So I guess anything more you want to say about the story itself before we move on?
I like that his actual first name is just Power. Can you imagine being the parents that named their child Power when they're naming him? Because they're always referring into it as like his actual name is Power Nelson. I'm thinking like maybe there's some like nominative destiny there where maybe he wasn't always going to be a powerful guy, but we named him Power, and he just ended up growing up into being a powerful person. Just like if somebody has like a certain name, they might become a carpenter or a mason or something like that. Thought that was kind of funny, especially because it's like the boy version of naming your daughter like Honor or Glory. But that's becoming even more popular now to just give like kids weird names because culture is kind of like fragmenting a lot. Like somebody might give their kid a name from an anime they watched or something like that. So it's like, yeah, I again, a couple decades earlier than they should have been, but I could totally see some random parent naming their son Power for no reason.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's all the commentary I got on this.
All right. So, we'll move on to but let's see. I did plan for four. So this one, Jupiter the Master Magician, Black Owl, and Storm Curtis. Let's see. Which one will we hit next here? Boy, oh boy, how you'll be simply wowed. August Champion Comics on sale June 28th, 10 cents. Oh, look at that. Look at that scene right there with the girl.
Mm-hmm. And somehow she's still more dressed than that man.
Pirate Peril.
Get a little short story here.
Well, text story by Robert Turner. Jupiter, Master Magician by G. Chapman. Jim Johnson, ace reporter, in conference with his editor. This is confidential, Johnson. You'll be responsible for any leaks in information. Good luck, my boy, and be careful. Thanks, Chief. I'll do my best. Central Airport, and step on it. Yes, sir. Unknown to Johnson, the taxi has been marked by prearrangement. A plane hovers above the taxi. There's the cab. Lower the hook and cable. Okay, Murdo. Okay.
Is he gonna murdo people?
Suddenly, the cab is lifted from the highway. Hey, what the? Then the cable is released. Its treacherous work done. Woo, close call. The chief was dead right. Poor chap. Looks like he's done for. Jim discovers the hook and cable and sees the plane disappear. That's the plane that turned this neat trick. If only Jupiter were around. Jupiter appears in a flash. Good friend, didst wish for my presence? That plane followed my cab and wrecked it. They don't want me to get to the airport. Why dost thou? How dost thou know? They wouldn't have attempted to kill me otherwise. True enough. Jupiter gestures suddenly, and they begin to fly. Yonder is the plane. Wow, you work fast.
So he lets the other guy fly with him, or they begin to fly.
Well, it is called Jupiter the Master Magician. Maybe magically caused him to fly too.
I'm wondering, with the design here, because he's got like these antennae coming out of his head too. Is he supposed to be like an alien or something? And like he just learned how to speak from reading Shakespearean plays, or
don't remember.
Or is that just part of his stage gimmick?
I don't remember. Like, I think the antennae. I think those are just part of who he is.
Yeah, like, well, because, magicians are performers, so maybe he's a thespian. He just, like, this is my character that I play when I'm doing heroics. I must speak in, like, a Shakespearean play style format.
Hmm. I can enter through this panel without being seen. Watch thyself. Okay, here I go. As Jim enters the plane, he trips and falls heavily. Ooh. You, Johnson. Drop that gun. Drop that gun, Murdo. Murdo uses jujitsu and throws Jim easily. I'll kill you, but I've a better use for you.
And
You
like how the
rat.
artist,
Oh,
the
huh?
artist is like, I don't know how to draw a jujitsu throw, so I'm just gonna draw what happened after the jujitsu throw.
Yeah, just imply it from.
Yeah, I'm not even implying. It's like I'm gonna tell you what happened through the speech.
Just then, Jupiter enters invisible. Then he becomes. Then he becomes visible. Be not confident of success, Murdo. Murdo whirls. Jupiter! Um, and Jupiter utters a magical word. Etio! At Jupiter's magic word, Murdo and his gang are bound securely. What the? I'll get you two for this. Hey, yonder is the landing field. We'll make the testing ground in time. We'll make the testing ground in time, Jupiter. Jim turns the gang over to the airport police. That's a crew, officer. Tough bunch. The bunch are taken into custody. Quick there. Not so rough, big boy. Jim, the hour approaches to observe the new bomber's performance. Gosh, Jupiter, I'd never have made it without you. Ah, 'tis not. Simply call upon me, and I need good fortune. Thanks, pal. I won't need you for a while. So long. Jim speaks to the president later. Sir, it's an honor to be present at such a vital event. Meanwhile, the airport police turn out to be Murdo's men. Now you're sure, but not positive that oh, you sure put over a fast one, boss. Yes, very neat, but we've got to get busy. To your post, men. You all have full instructions. Kill all government heads at once. I, Murdo, shall rule supreme. So I guess he's planning on murdering political leaders.
That's in his name.
Yeah. Murdo gives instructions to the pilot of the secret testing plane. Circle the field 3 times, then drop the bombs on the reviewing stand. Later, the same pilot is introduced to the president before takeoff. I'll do my best, sir. Seems to me I've seen the pilot somewhere before. Hmm. I've got it. That guy used to work for a fur smuggling ring. Hurriedly, Jim leaves the grandstand. He's up he's up to no good. Unobserved, Johnson boards the plane. I won't be seen. The plane takes off with a roar. Roar! As Jim eases into the bomb room, gosh, I've got the jitters. I wish it was. I wish it was over with. Okay, Hank, let her go next time around. Smack the grandstand. Drop those eggs. Well, here goes. This is one time when you'll leave your eggs in the basket. Pow! Fortunately, the falling body releases the bomb. Wow. Falling body releasing the bomb. That's interesting. Hey there, Metal.
Mm.
However, the delay is sufficient to cause the bombs to explode at the far end of the field. Nothing's gone wrong, Butch. Take a good look. Okay, right away. Butch catches the Jim unawares and knocks him out. That'll hold him. We'll have to use machine gun fire to finish the job off. Jupiter! Ah! As Butch leaves, Jupiter appears. Jim, art thou injured? Get the machine gunner. If if Murdo keeps his word, I'll be rich after this job. As Jupiter enters, he hears the gun sputter. Is he too late? Tumbrillo! Return bullets. Like a boomerang, the bullets turn back and rake the master machine gunner.
Yeah, but like, when
Huh?
those would go through him.
What?
All those bullets that he'd been shooting out from machine gun, just the amount and the penetration, like they should be going through him.
Hmm.
Some of them would probably stop in him, but like most of those would go through him. They should be coming out the other side. Should be damaging to like anything behind him.
Hmm. Murdo looks on from the ground. It's that Jupiter again. He's ruined my whole plan. I must get out of here before he finds me. I'll get even with you two yet. Jupiter leaves Jim. So long, Jupiter. Remember, not a word about me. Magnificent job, Jim. Johnson, congratulations. Thank you, General Walters. Thanks to Jupiter. Warning! Racco, Murdo's brother, lives again. See the next issue of Prize Comics. 100 valuable prizes in every issue of Prize Comics. All right, so overall impression of that story.
I thought it was pretty weak.
You thought it was pretty weak.
Yeah, and I think
Reasoning
part of it
on
is like how it
that?
was executed more than anything. right? Like the art's not really all that there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even mean just like the capacity for the art. I mean, there's so many words in this comic that there's barely any art at times, right? It might just be two people talking in each panel. There's a couple good panels in there, like that explosion that was drawn earlier,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a nice thwack. But for the most part, it seemed like they were using words to cut corners. I like narration in comics, but it was an over reliance on narration. This would have either been done better with like maybe a different artist and a writer who was like trying to show more than they told, or if this was done as like a prose short story where they just wrote the whole thing instead of trying to make it a comic.
Hmm. All right. Anything more you want to say on that? For
I'm not a fan of Jupiter's design either. Mostly because like it doesn't seem very cohesive.
all right. Well, I do need to step away for a moment, so if you can entertain the chat for a moment, talk to them, what have you. A friendly reminder to everybody, of course, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer we'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So I'm going to be right back. Metal, if you can hold down the fort while I'm gone, that'd be appreciated. All right. Be back in a moment.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about because I don't even know if like the artist is necessarily the problem because some of the profiles on the side are not the best, but they're also not the worst. So that's not that bad. The guy probably has potential. Like what I'm saying before, it's like, oh, it seemed like he didn't know how to draw somebody being thrown, so he just drew afterwards. That might have not been the case. I'm thinking about this too. Like this is a very dense comic that maybe the artist didn't have time or room to draw fun stuff. He's like, oh, this is the now look how many panels are on a page. It's so cramped. You probably couldn't have too much good art if you wanted it. I think that's one of the big problems here. Like maybe they should have wrote a shorter story with more breathing room for the page count that they have. Rex, you want more friendlier people to engage? I'm not friendly enough. You might be friendly enough. Maybe you're not engaging enough. Have you considered that? Right? Maybe it's the other half of the statement. Maybe you need to turn your engagement up to 11. Maybe I need to turn my engagement up to 11. Maybe I'm not engaging enough here. And I'm the one talking to the chat right now. It is nice to see you here, Rick. I think comics like this, though, this is a very, very good lesson for people. Because I don't think there's inherently a problem with having like 12 panels on a page if you can fit it. But you got to think about like how dense is this story? Are we putting 12 panels on the page because we want to show off a lot of movement really fast, right? We want it to read fast. Or are we putting 12 panels on the page because we want an excuse to put in more lettering when we probably could have put just as much lettering on with less panels and picked a more dynamic scene, right? It's like I think people need to think about how dense is a page or even a story and reconsider what they can get away with. Because I think this comic tried to do more than they could actually get away with.
All right. So you were talking about the I guess Rick had a couple of comments here. Let's see. You want more friendlier people to engage. I'm not friendly enough.
I told him maybe he's friendly enough. He might just not be engaging enough.
Maybe. Well, okay. The reason I say it like that, The reason I say it like that, when I say friendly people to engage, because did you ever hear of a guy named Testify Metal?
Yes, I'm aware and of the situation.
Okay, Testify. I had some issues with people like him, like John and JDA, John Del Rose, where they basically be coming in here trying to like poke
Yeah.
and prod and all that.
I believe it's the late Testify too, right?
Yeah, he passed
Yeah.
away. But so that's why I say it like that, because basically the idea is
Yeah.
I don't want just people coming in just to cause problems.
No, you could send all of those people over to the vomitorium. I'm glad to have people come in who just want to cause problems. It's entertaining to me.
I'm teasing Mike, just being around, joking around. That's fine, but you know.
Rick does have a very active sense of humor. I don't know if it's good or not. I think the jury's still out there, but it's an active sense of humor.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'm the last few weeks here I've had a number of neurological exams too. I just had an MRI done just the other day, and then the week before a memory test, and week before that EEG done. Just I recently got a new doctor, and he's just doing some baseline work, referring me to some specialists. So
If it wasn't so expensive, I'd get some brain scans done just for some fun.
yeah. All right. So, anyways, I guess we'll get ready to move on to the next one, which I believe will be Black Owl.
Chips.
The Black Owl. Let's see. Where are we at on time here? 1 hour and 12, so not too bad time wise. All right. The Black Owl by Peter Niebird. Terry Dane, private detective, phones her Playboy friend, Doug Danville. Had to leave suddenly for the North Woods. Doug, I'm in a lumber camp working on a mystery case. The mate, making mysterious calls. Yeah, the boss will like to hear about that.
There was a thing that made me chuckle about that first panel, the way that you read it. And it's because you put the space or the emphasis in the wrong part, and it completely changes the context of the statement. Because it says her Playboy friend, but the way you said it was her play boyfriend, which completely changes what that means.
I wasn't intending that. I think I just had a little hiccup there or whatever.
Yeah, but it made me laugh because of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good play on, her play boyfriend or her play boy.
Yeah, one implies that he gets around quite a bit. The other one implies that he's only here when she wants to play.
Yeah. Well, the term they actually meant for is like Bruce Wayne kind of playboy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I didn't say that he was getting around necessarily in bed. The playboy is a charmer. He's got like that lifestyle. Maybe he's always got a different girl on his arms, even if it's not for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Or 2 or 3 girls on his arms, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. In far off New York City. Hello, Terry? She's been cut off. Or else somebody's grabbed her. She's in trouble. If anyone has hurt Terry, they'll answer to the Black Owl. Or they'll answer to the Black Owl. Ought to be there in another hour. All right, I need to go off camera one more time, real quick. I'll be right back. Something to do with my nose here.
Yep. The Black Owl. You think the Black Owl was made because of the popularity of characters similar to Batman? Batman would have already been out by now, right? Is he like late 30s? Um, yeah, 39. So like Batman's like super popular. I saw the cover of him of the Black Owl here, and he looked very much like Batman. The character is a playboy, similar to how like Bruce ends up being. Um, it's like, yeah, we want our own Batman. Let's make a Batman. What can we do? We'll have a black owl. That'll do it. That's a creature that would hunt in the night, don't you think? Which there are black owls, but the only ones I can think of is like the black banded owl, which kind of has like a black and gray kind of a striped pattern to it on its breast. Very, very like yellow orange talons and beak. But they'd be hard to see at night, especially because like the material of the beak and bird's talons aren't very reflective. And having like black feathers also means it wouldn't be very reflective. So like that thing would just be able to soar through the night and you'd never be able to tell.
Yeah, you talk about hunting in the night. It reminds me, some of the cartoons I've been watching recently. One of them, being the Sniffles series
Mm-hmm.
of Warner Brothers. And there were a couple of episodes in which Sniffles was interacting with an owl, a barn owl, not necessarily a black owl, but a barn owl. And I know at one point in one of the books, talking about, barn owls, talked about how barn owls have a tendency to eat rodents.
Yeah, that's usually what they eat is rodents and small critters. Trying to remember though, because I think ironically, I think the black branded owl, which is the only
Mm-hmm.
black owl I can think of, might be a day hunter despite being black.
Hmm. Huh.
We
All
think.
right.
No, okay, they are nocturnal. They're just sometimes active during the day. So yeah. Because it would be weird if you were adapted for all this dark feathers and then you hunted mostly during the day. You're like, that seems like like a mistake there, but it's like no, they do hunt most of
Counterproductive.
the night. Yeah, but they do mostly hunt at night. I mean, it also depends, right? Because it depends on like what the eyesight of the thing you hunt has. Is like when you think tigers can't camouflage into anything. It's like, but the things that they hunt can't really see orange. So when you actually look at the tone of their fur pattern, they actually blend into the grass of the jungle around them pretty easily in a green and blue only eyesight.
All right. I'll get right here. Meanwhile, in the lumber camp, caught this dame phoning New York, boss. Grr, car sleever, car sleever. So you're the one responsible for all the disasters around here. Yes, and now there's going to be another one. Another. You'll have an accident.
Oh, that was the other thing I was talking about before we get too much into this page. Do you think this Black Owl was made because of the rise in popularity of Batman over the last couple years?
I believe so because I
Yeah.
did hear some of that exchange you were having.
Yeah.
Actually there do seem to be a because I think let's see, I don't know if it was Rick and I or maybe Apex and I were talking about another character recently read, where there was some Batman influence there. Yeah, I think because as Rick pointed out to you too, Batman came out in 1939 and he made his debut appearance in Detective Comics number 27. Um, But yeah, I think there are a few characters that did utilize Batman as kind of a model for
Oh
what it.
yeah, because especially the silhouette that you could have gotten from this guy from the cover. It's like, yeah, total Batman.
All right, so Doug, whom Terry believes to be nothing but a lazy ne'er do well, becomes Black Al, mystery man she so admires. Now, as we all know, we've talked about this several times. Usually, when somebody acts like a kind of a ne'er do well, as they say here, and
Mm-hmm.
they actually end up being a hero, usually it's because it's to kind of guard their secret identity. It's to try to throw people off, where people don't figure out. Oh wait, they're one and the same,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. It's
All
kind
right.
of redundant to put lazy in front of ne'er do well though, because it's kind of already implied by it.
Uh huh. The camp is nearby now to find out what's going on. My nose acting up. I'm sorry. Keep
Mm-hmm.
having to go off camera. I'm trying to. Anyways, I'm going to go off camera here for a moment. Sorry. Try to get back as soon as I can here.
Yep, yep, yep. You could always stay off camera and just talk. I don't think the audience cares that much if it happens to be a worse day in that regard. I think what really matters is whether they can see the comic or not. I always liked the word near do well, but it never made sense to me until I found out that near was a contraction for never. And then it's like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. It's just lazy people being lazy. That's how almost all language changes. It's a combination of two factors: people being lazy versus people who hate people being lazy. So the constant tug of war there, where some people make language simpler and some people make it more complex, and they kind of roll around like a wrestle on the ground over time. I'm surprised near to well didn't just become near to a. That's definitely something that I could have seen happening. Maybe in the countryside, you might have somebody be like, "Yeah, that near to a. They were never gonna do anyone like." I think there's the awkward part of this story so far is he came flying in on a plane. You can see his plane parked behind him, but you can't just like fly a plane anywhere. I'm not even talking about like airspace problems, which is already an issue, right? You have to talk to uh, traffic control and stuff like that anytime you're flying a plane. But like, you need to have enough runway to get up off the ground and to land your plane. And maybe that field is big enough in the background. Like maybe he parked a mile away or wherever where he can find it. But like getting around by plane is probably the least efficient way to try to catch up with people who are kind of sort of nearby, like within a 15-mile radius.
All right, well, I'm back now, so we'll get
Yeah.
back to the story here. Thanks for holding down the fort.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the camp is nearby now to find out what's going on. Who's that guy? Hey, you, come here. Oh, looks like trouble. What are you snooping around for? Talk or we'll beat the daylights out of you. Guess I'll have to teach you fellas some manners.
His helmet is just ridiculous. Right, it's got like a cheetah pattern on it. Like maybe that could represent the owl's beak, but like He's also got like these little flaps that are kind of like the extended owl ears that some of them have. Um, it's just all over the place. It almost looks more like a cat hat than it does an owl.
Always be nice to a stranger, or let's see. Reinforcements. Guess I'd better leave. That guy's killed our pals.
I
Grab
think
him.
you read it out of order.
Yeah, yeah. A black owl picks up the KO'd man. Okay, yeah. Always be nice to a stranger, or the black owl picks up the KO'd man. The stranger will be mean to you. Reinforcements. Guess I'd better leave. That guy's killed our pals. Grab him.
I don't blame you for reading it wrong. That's horrible paneling to not have arrows to tell you the direction to go. Like a normal comic, you should have read it in the order that you read it.
Don't strain yourself, boys. Come down here. See you later. He got away. He got away. What a man. All right.
You're admiring the person that you're chasing now? I guess. I mean, they're very sportsman of you.
Well, that time period, that's kind of odd. I mean, I could see the girl saying, "What a man," like that. But
I mean, I could see it if they weren't like goons or whatever, right? If they were maybe like specialized criminals that also had secret identities or whatever. But like, I'm just saying, it's very sportsman to admire that the person who's beating you up and getting away.
let's see, skirting the camp, undercover. Black Owl enters a lonely clearing. Hiya, Mr. Woodsman. Maybe you can give me some information. I'm trying to find a young lady named Terry Dane. Do you know? So you're a friend of the female Snoop. Well, take that. Some disposition.
See, getting to see the back of his helmet too, it from that angle, it does look more like the pattern of like a spotted owl. It's still just like, if you're supposed to be the black owl, why do you have a pattern of a not black owl?
Couldn't tell you.
Oh.
That's for calling Terry names. The fuming lumberjack hurls his razor-edged axe. You can't hit Pierre and get away with it. The black owl. What was that?
Of course, the lumberjack would be named Pierre. What other name would you give to a lumberjack?
The black owl leaps agilely out of the way. Thanks for the weapon, Pierre. Sacre, I've missed.
Yeah, and of course, also he's French Canadian. I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of French Canadians named Pierre. It's a very common name.
Talk fast, Frenchie, or I'll shave your throat with this big razor. Ooh. Guard Sleever discovered gold on property. He is trying to force owner out of business so he can buy camp cheap. No kill Pierre. This ought to hold you while I go find Terry. Garsleever will kill you for this. At a sawmill nearby.
Oh man, we got the classic.
Yeah. Gee, boss, you're gonna saw a dame in half? Too bad you have to die this way. All right, maybe I should have read it another way, but
I think it works either way in this case. Rick says, hey, this guy could be from France too. He doesn't have to be from Canada. I don't know. Looking at where this story takes place, the fact that he's a lumberjack named Pierre, I think the stereotype with him going sacre implies that he's French Canadian. His ugly mug probably doesn't help either.
Yeah. Several minutes later, stop the machine. The Black Owl. Kill him, boys. Terry is drawn closer and closer to a horrible death.
That. Huh? I said I kid about that. I've actually seen plenty of handsome French Canadians, but you got to rib the French Canadians specifically.
You rats! I wish I could find out who he is before I die. Stop this freak! Haven't time to stop that saw with my hand, so we'll corner him now. I'll have to use remote control. Crash! The Black Owl stopped the blade. Thank heavens. Black Owl grabs a log hoist, pulls it back, and have a couple of toothpicks, boys. That finishes the game. I'll go get some more of my men. I'll get him later. Got to turn Terry loose now. You were wonderful. Thanks for untying me. It was nothing. The next minute, a loosened log from the hoist falls. He's not hurt badly. I hate to take advantage of him, but I'll remove his mask and see who he really is. There they are. Grab them. Darn! Just as I get the chance to identify the Black Owl. Garsleever binds Terry and the Black Owl and takes them to the river. This logjam is fixed for blasting. When I set it off, you'll be blown to pieces. You brute! Interesting position there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Rick says this guy seems a little stronger than Batman. For the time, probably, because it took a while for Batman to get like really strong.
Mm-hmm. Splash! If I can only bring the Black Owl to before they set off the dynamite. Oh! The icy water revives him, and with a mighty effort, we've got to get off this logjam in a hurry. There. Please tell me who you are. Phew, that was close. You go get the state police while I go after that rat, Garsleever. Black Owl forces Garsleever out onto the logs. So you won't So you won't get away, Gar. Help! He'll kill me. Caught, caught you just in time to save your rotten life. Don't let me fall. I give up. A half hour later, you got the villain right in your lap. Now, Terry girl. Why, it's Gar Sleever, the man we're going after. Back in the city, what a time we had. I almost learned who the Black Owl is. Better luck next time. Follow the Black Owl each month in Prize Comics. So I'm still going to talk to you, but I'm going to go off camera again
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
yeah.
So, I already have two things that came to mind immediately that I was kind of holding a bit. One, I find it funny that this guy is dressed more like a magician than the one we read earlier, who was an actual magician. I just find that kind of funny, between like the suit and the cape that he was wearing. The second one is that I'm finding it funny that a comic that is basically aping Batman because of Batman's popularity that's been growing in the last couple of years before this, decides to use a plot line or like a peril trope that was already dated by the time this came out, right? Because like the whole sawmill and even the follow-up thing with the guy and the logs exploding, falling, and he's saving, a lot of this stuff was from Blue Jeans, which Blue Jeans was a stage play back in 1890. That was then later in the early 1900s remade into a movie because pictures were silent pictures and stuff were starting to take off. But like all the way back in 1890 was when the sawmill thing was first done. And it's like, not only are we're going to have our own Batman or whatever, we're going to use some of the most tired tropes in current media to do it. I just find like that's a wild idea.
Do you think that was a tired trope at that point in time, or are you saying that's a tired trope now? Like
no, by the time that this comic came out, it was already a tired trope. Like I said, the trope started in a very popular stage play in 1890, which is why you see it in like everything. The stage play was then turned into a silent serial series by the same name, Blue Jeans. That's where the original black and white silent movie sawmill scene comes from. And then like every cartoon, every comic has already done it for a few years before this comic even happened.
I do remember seeing it in some Popeye cartoons.
Yeah. So like, it's old by the time this comic comes out.
Oh, maybe they were just going on the idea, hey, let's bring in a classic trope, even if at least in your opinion it was a tired. Maybe to them they didn't see it as a tired trope yet.
No, I feel like they were phoning in the story. They're like, we need a competitor to this popular hero, so we're just going to make an easy story that we don't have to think about.
Well, I would think there was some thought put into it. Maybe not a whole lot, but
well, he barely even has a costume, right? Like he's just wearing a suit, and then the interesting part is his helmet. That's the only thing that's different, and a cape, and it's like a magician's cape. Like he looks like a magician, but instead of like the traditional top hat or whatever, he's got this weird owl helmet cowl. It seems very rushed.
Yeah. All right. So the last story. Anything more you want to say on this before we move on?
No.
Okay.
It's always nice to see that nothing's changed. People still do this anytime something gets popular.
All right. So the last story then that we'll do here is a story called Storm Curtis. I'll get to that in a moment. I believe that's one more of a naval type story. Jackson of the Jungle. I think there's Buck Brady of the FBI. Yeah, and we have another book here that's kind of a mix of a bunch of different story types there.
Yeah. Which I like.
Storm. Oh, go ahead.
I like when you get that variety.
Storm Curtis of the Coast Guard by Richard Norman.
Hey, Apex is here.
Hey, Apex. Let me come over real quick here. I'm a friendly. I have those Golden Age comics. I love those Golden Age comics. Hi, the Metal, Mike. Well, hey there, Apex. Thanks for popping in.
I love Golden Age comics too. I like it more when people are actually trying something new, even if it fails to land, but at least they're going for it. There is a different enjoyment for watching somebody contemporary to when something's new try to ape it. But it's completely different almost.
Ape it? What do you mean by ape it?
Yeah, when you're trying to like basically write off the success of somebody else's thing, right? Where it's like, this thing's popular, I'm going to make my own version of that thing. And aping is pretty much almost doing exactly the opposite. Like monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah, I remember. Let's see. I remember. Monkey see, monkey do, monkey all over you.
Or monkey make a fool of you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Reminds me. I think that was actually a line in the Teen Titans cartoon at one point.
Probably, yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I guess Rick is doing some promos on his own there. Well, plug that for him. Oh, actually, I should go ahead and come back on here. Really forgot that I was off camera there for a moment. Anyways, all right, so once again, Storm Curtis happens across spies, mystery, and intrigue. And once again, he proves himself a hero. In the radio room, hey, Sparky, how about letting me talk to my girlfriend? She's expecting my call. Sure, Storm. Call in WR1295. Calling WR1295. Come in, WR1295. This is WR1295. Hello, Storm. This is Linda. And I get, let's see. Oh. And I get shore leave tonight at 11. How about a stroll down the beach? Why, sure, Storm. XEUPTOVQ there's that code we've been trying to decipher. 11 p.m. Dad doesn't let me walk alone anymore. There's been lots of strange things going on lately. Suddenly, the ground gives way beneath Curtis. Hey, I'm falling! Uh-oh, there's company down here. Oof! Thanks for breaking my fall, pal. Looks mighty fishy here. A remote control set. A remote control set. Wonder what it's for. Storm, come quick! It's Linda. She must be in trouble. Well, I'll be a baby submarine on treads. Baby submarine, huh?
Yeah, is it going to grow up someday?
Quick, Linda. Run back to your house, contact my boat, get them here fast. Aye, aye, sir. That must be the sub that's sinking all those merchantmen.
Need to use a different font there, which usually you don't want to do in a comic, but I guess they realized we don't have enough room in this panel, so we have to use a smaller font.
I'll grab its crew when they disembark. The hatch springs open. That's funny. The hatch is open, but nobody's coming out. After several minutes, Storm climbs into the little sub. This tub must have been sent by remote control to pick someone up from shore. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, Metal? Does this possibly scream trap?
It screams convoluted plan.
Oh, actually, it looks like there's a few more here. I enjoy some Basil Wolverton in the late. Okay, there must have been more there. Guys must have been having some back and forth there. Let's see.
No, that's pretty much the start of it.
I enjoyed some Basil Wolverton in the late 30s and 40s. Great sci-fi work from Basil. And then of course Avex, doing his promotion there. And here comes a national incident on the shore. Pretty nifty one torpedo tube. Hey, the hatch snaps shut. The sub's moving. Let's see, trap maybe?
But this is what I'm saying, like convoluted plan though. Like, how would your plan have went if he didn't decide to crawl into the sub?
Under high speed, the sub lunges back into the sea. After a long underwater trip, Storm feels the sub rising. Wow! Wonder what flag she's flying. And we get the answer. It looks like a pirate flag.
A Jolly Roger.
Well, I'll be the Jolly Roger, a pirate ship. The sub containing Storm Curtis slips into an opening of the large sub. It fastens itself. Inside the hatch. So, you're our new agent. You have done well, X4, eh? Oh, so I guess he was a new agent. He thinks I'm one of the secret agents.
Yeah, it probably wasn't a trap. It was probably a retrieval mission, and the wrong person climbed into the sub.
That's an excellent disguise. You're wearing. Come first, let me show you the ship.
Which also adds to how convoluted the plan is, because the wrong person got into their sub. Anyone could have crawled in.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder what the reaction would have been if it would have been a woman that fell in there. Oh,
Like, we
God.
don't remember hiring a woman, but maybe that's just how good our secret agent is.
Or maybe even better yet, maybe by having a woman, um, maybe we hired somebody that we can play with too.
Yeah, what if the schedule was completely off and like a 10-year-old kid who was playing on the beach crawled in that day and they're completely confused?
Hmm. This is where we keep captured servicemen until they talk. Then we dispose of them. The murdering rat, torturing our U.S. men to get information. Later that night, these, um, these birds steal U.S. secrets and sell them to foreign countries. I'd better get ready. Bam! Curtis releases the U.S. agents. Listen, men, I want each of you to twist the rudders on the torpedoes um, to about a 33% turn, or 33 and a third degree turn. Does it quiet? Does it? The men quietly go about their duty. This one's all bent. Storm enters the radio room. Sorry, Rat. Sparky, Curtis calling. Send all cutters and destroyers to this spot.
Man, look at the quality of the pages they were able to find. There's chunks missing from the edges.
Yeah, I saw that. In a couple of minutes, the whole Navy will be here. Follow me. Storm lights a rocket. Okay, dive, swim for it.
Like, I'm thinking, we're lucky we even got to read this story today. If they didn't find this copy, they probably would have found none.
Maybe. A few minutes later, in the enemy sub, a U.S. destroyer. They spotted us. Man the tubes. Tubes 4, 5, 6. Ready? Fire! The rudders bent. The three torpedoes run a circular course, closing in on the submarine. Until they meet the sub. Boom! The U.S. men are picked up by the destroyer. Curtis, what's this all about? Explain it. Let these other guys explain it. I still have a few hours shortly to finish out. Follow the daring exploits of Storm Curtis in every issue of Prize Comics. Alrighty then. So there we go with that one.
Yeah. This is another guy, just like
overall
Power Nelson.
But, story.
Oh, overall,
Yeah.
This was all right. I think it was competent. It used its space pretty well. It didn't like. It wasn't too much text. Didn't drown on for too much. It was able to actually let the art show some things.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's probably better. I don't think it was the best one, which we're going to get into, obviously, but it's better than half the stories we read today.
All right.
Which again, we'll get into that later. But
yeah.
I was also thinking this is like the Power Nelson guy, where his parents decided to give him a very uncommon first name.
Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. Here comes in. Okay. Here come the pirates. Nice mustache. A case of mistaken identity. Common plot thread. All right. So anything more you want to say about this story before we move on to the next part? This was the last story we're reading, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really too much to say, other than like the plan of the bad guys was pretty convoluted, but honestly, even the story treated it that way, so I don't think that was a problem. He was kind of just easily able to outdo them because they weren't very bright.
Mm-hmm.
So that was all right. It's an okay story.
All right. So now, with that being said, so we got through 4 features tonight, 4 stories. Of the 4, which one did you either like the best, or made the like the most, or made the best impression, and why?
Let me think. I think it probably was the first one. I think it was the Future Man. I think that I had some nitpicks about how stupid his outfit was in certain places, but aside from that, I think it was like the most competently written story. It used its space very well. The art was strong, and it had a very steady narrative to it.
All right. Anything more you want to say on that before we move on to the next part there?
No, I think it was just the strongest of the stories.
And of course, in contrast, of the 3 remaining stories that we read, which one did you either like the least or made the least impression, and why?
I'm trying to remember because we read 4 stories here, but I want to say the one I even complained about the most was probably Jupiter. And I think that was the one that was just too wordy, maybe, that barely had like any art on the pages. I think that was that one.
Well, I also remember you were saying that even though Jupiter was the magician, he wasn't dressed like a magician. If anything, Black Al was dressed more like.
Yeah, Jupiter was like some type of space cadet or almost or whatever. Like what's going on with him?
Yeah. All right. Anything more you want to say on that?
Yeah, I think in general that one was I think that was the one that I was saying was a lesson to comic creators to not make a comic like that, because it just crammed way too much in, like too many panels, too many words into such a small space that it didn't do its own story any justice. And so like that's a good class to take. Read that comic, don't do that.
All right. So anyways, all right. So now we're done. Now we're done with the readings, of course. So now, before we head out, we're gonna, of course, move on to this weekend in Niche history. As today is, of course, Sunday, September the 21st, 2025. So let's take a look back at this date in Niche history. Let me just review some things here real quick. 21st, 1995. 2020, 2015, 2010, let's see, 21st, 2010, and then of course from 2020. All right. So first up, looking back to yesterday, on yesterday's Niche Day in history. On yesterday's date in Niche history, WWE held its Night of Champions pay-per-view from the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Let me see here. I think that's. I don't know if Sting was actually, as you saw there, Sting there. Yeah, so Sting had a match at one of the, during his brief run in the WWE there in 2015. The main event saw Seth Rollins defeat Sting to retain the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. John Cena defeated Seth Rollins to win the United States Championship. The Wyatt family of Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Braun Strowman defeated Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Chris Jericho. Let's see, in a women's match, Charlotte, along with Paige and Becky Lynch, defeated Nikki Bella, with Brie Bella and Alicia Fox in her corner. by submission to win the WWE Divas Championship. If Nikki was counted out or disqualified, Charlotte would win the championship. So basically, just a reminder to everybody about that. Normally, in most championship matches, title can't change hands on a count out or a disqualification. For this match, they kind of nullified that rule. In a match for the WWE Tag Team titles, the Dudley Boys defeated the New Days via disqualification. Kevin Owens defeated Ryback for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. The match, the pre-show saw Stardust and the Ascension of Connor and Victor defeat Neville and the Lucha Dragons, Kalisto and Sin Cara. So that happened on this date back in 2015, or on yesterday's date back in 2015, 10 years ago yesterday. So now, moving on to the next piece of niche history from yesterday. As we move ahead to the year 2020, as on yesterday's date in 2020 over in Japan, Part 2 of Sword Art Online Alicization, War of the Underworld, Part 2 of that arc, completed its run on Japanese television from A1. So, 5 years ago yesterday, A1 Pictures, Part 2 of A1 Pictures, Sword Art Online Alicization, War of the Underworld, concluded its run on Japanese television.
Good riddance.
Yeah, I take you weren't too fond of Sword Art Online.
I don't like Sword Art Online, like, at all.
How would you compare it to maybe some of the other animes out there based on like RPGs, like Dot Hack and some of those?
I think the fact that I'm a big fan of Dot Hack might even be why I don't like Sword Art Online. I think it did almost everything Sword Art tried to do much, much better.
Yeah, actually, I also was a big fan of Dot Hack. I watched the series. All right. So anyway, so that was for those two, and then now moving on to today's date in niche history. First off, heading back to the year 1995. Heading back to the year 1995, which was, of course, 30 years ago today. On this date, 30 years ago today, the 35th issue of Akira from Marvel's Epic imprint went on sale on this date back in 1995. Written and drawn by Katsuhiro Otomo, with Michael Higgins doing the lettering and the coloring by Stephen Olive. On this date back in 1995, 30 years ago today, 35th issue of Akira from Marvel's Epic imprint. Story was titled Face to Face.
And we always have to thank Stan Lee, because if it wasn't for his initiative, we wouldn't be getting localization of manga anywhere near as soon as we did. He was the one that, they're doing stuff in Japan and people want to read it here in the States.
Even though I think as far as from what I understand, though, isn't it Dark Horse that's actually more well known for doing?
Oh yeah. But it was Stan it was the one that convinced everybody to start doing it.
All right. Yeah. All right. And we get to the point today where mangas are selling, and even adaptations of mangas are selling better than the stuff being published here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I know that gets talked about a lot. I know Yellow Flash talks about that a lot too. But anyways, now finally, on this date 15 years ago today, back in the year 2010, Walt Disney Animation's Tinkerbell receives a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame from Peter Pan fame. So on this date, back in the year 2010, Tinkerbell receives a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
I
So
never got how fictional characters could have stars. There are tons of them that do. It just doesn't really make sense to me.
yeah. Well, anyways, with that being said, before we head out, of course, I'm gonna of course hand it off to Metal here to one last time. If you want to before we head out, if you want to, and if you can stick around for a couple moments afterwards for post show. Um,
Well,
but
it's like the
I
same things I
hand the
promoted when
floor
I
over to
started.
you, my friend.
I'm the creator of X Dynamis Chaos. Really fun little universe of its own, fictional world where everything just kind of spirals into chaos. Whatever's happening now, it's just going to get worse later. So enjoy that. You can go find that at xdynamischaos.com. There's comics, like prose chapters, articles, all kinds of things about the world that you can spend hours on. And also, I stream talk shows and video games over on the Vomitorium Live every week. And you can go find me over there. So subscribe if you're not. And that's it.
All right. So with that, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show as we took another trip down comics history lane. And with that, I'll see you all tomorrow as we will be getting back into, of course, the niche news and all that. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.